Can Bitcoin actually fail in the future? It's the 2020s, and literally everyone knows cryptocurrency will always be the safest form of investment, particularly when the crypto in question is Bitcoin. But ask yourself, is that really true? Can Bitcoin actually fail in the future? Trust us, you'll be surprised to learn the truth about this, so stay with us in this video to find out. The controversial beginning. The original specification and concept for Bitcoin was launched and published in 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto. That probably comes as a surprise to you, given Bitcoin has been described as anonymously controlled. Well, the thing is that Satoshi left the entire project in late 2010 and has remained completely off the grid, leaving the community to be run by many developers all around the world. If you've been in the crypto space long enough, you'd have heard some shallow conspiracy theorists state Satoshi's anonymity as a reason why Bitcoin could collapse in the future. After all, it was over a decade ago, and the world was just getting used to digital currency, so virtually everyone said Bitcoin would fail. Let's just say that's nothing more than a conspiracy theory. Why? Well, Satoshi never really controlled Bitcoin. The protocol for the entire software was published openly and is open for developers around the world to review or modify. This means no one controls the Bitcoin network, and everyone who uses the cryptocurrency software can actually be said to control it. When you consider this, Bitcoin has some sort of ethical security over normal banking structures since it's not susceptible to crash because of any individual error. But this very concept is the first reason why Bitcoin could fail. You see, a currency with no central bank and no autonomous controller suggests a level playing field for all end users. However, human sociology has repeatedly proven that democratization will always result in dystopia. Take the global inflation crisis in recent years, for example. The United States Federal Reserve was able to raise interest rates to combat rising prices. This way, it became more expensive to loan money, which caused a drastic reduction in the dollar flow and has helped cool the inflation rate. This series of events has made the importance of a central regulatory authority more glaring. Bitcoin, however, doesn't have such authority, meaning there is no person or group of persons who can help regulate or keep the currency in check. Take the bearish downturn of digital tokens a couple of years back, for example. This so-called currency went from being worth $68,000 to $17,000 in 9 months. Those were crazy times. And yet, the real shocker is that none of the hundreds of thousands of decentralized developers around the world could do anything about it. That's just one example of a Bitcoin system failing, and there have been and will be many similar cases. If such crises continually happen, leaving Bitcoin owners just crossing their fingers and hoping for luck, eventually the cryptocurrency will fail. Not a viable currency. Another reason why Bitcoin could fail is because it is not a viable currency. What do we mean by that? A viable currency is a currency that is economically feasible to use as money in the physical market. Perhaps the biggest factor that makes Bitcoin inviable is the volatility of its prices. Take this amazing analysis, for example. As of 2017, when Bitcoin became more common for more than just crypto gurus, one BTC was worth $1,000. In 5 months, it doubled to $2,000 and was $20,000 by the end of the year. Fast forward to November 2021, the same unit Bitcoin has soared to an insane value of about $68,000. All the experts studied the charts and concluded it would be worth $100,000 a year later. And guess what? By November 2022, Bitcoin had dipped all the way to just $15,000. And just so you know, 2 years later, the all-time high for the price of one Bitcoin is still just over $74,000. That just shows how insanely unstable Bitcoin is. Fiat money, on the other hand, is constantly monitored round the clock, with central banks making careful market actions on the international front to ensure a form of stability in the selling price of the currency. That's not to say there aren't fluctuations, as we all know, but the percentages rise or fall are just decimals of that of a single Bitcoin. Our point is that a currency simply cannot work without stable regulation. It makes no sense to use one Bitcoin to buy a car today when it could be worth the price of 10 cars by the next day. No matter what supporters of cryptocurrency say, there is the remotest possibility that central banks of world power nations like China, the US, and the UK will someday decide to scrap their currencies for an uncontrollable currency. As we've seen in recent years, a lot of countries have made moves to ban the trading and mining of Bitcoin because of this very reason. It's therefore fair to conclude that it'll only be a matter of time before it is made solely a black market currency, making Bitcoin destined to fail. And we're not done yet. It lacks intrinsic value. Yet another reason why Bitcoin is going to fail is its lack of intrinsic value. This one is pretty simple. Bitcoin's value is reliant on something called the greater fool theory. This theory is based on the belief that to make a profit from an investment, all you need is a buyer willing to pay more than what you purchased the asset for. While that theory works in some cases, it makes Bitcoin as much of a currency as a piece of art or any collectible. After all, a painting worth $20 to you could be worth $500,000 to an art collector. Actual currency like stocks and commodities, however, has a fixed value. Stocks more or less represent the ownership of a company that generates profit, and commodities are the raw materials used to produce goods that eventually yield profit upon sale. Even normal currencies like the dollar are valuable because they carry the value of the guarantee of the government that issues it. That's why every dollar bill has the words legal tender on it. And the Indian rupee has promise to pay the bearer printed on it. Bitcoin is only a speculative investment. It has no intrinsic value, it has no governmental backing, and does not quantify the value of anything. If you bring up this conversation among crypto enthusiasts, you'll probably hear someone argue that Bitcoin is like gold, which gets its value from scarcity. Here are two things that the argument doesn't acknowledge. One, Bitcoin algorithm has a fixed cap of 21 million digital coins, which means that no new Bitcoins can be mined when that number is reached. Experts have predicted that this will happen around the year 2140, meaning there's over a century left before the whole scarcity for value logic comes into play. And secondly, even when it does come into play, scarcity is not a standard measurement of value. Gold has a long list of uses other than just being a currency, which makes it more valuable in scarcity. Within some other cryptocurrencies lie actual gold-like functionality, like Ether, which gives access to the Ethereum blockchain, or Siacoin, which provides cheaper cloud storage. Bitcoin, however, doesn't have any of these perks, reducing the validity of the gold-like scarcity point of view. Should Bitcoin eventually become scarce, that is how Bitcoin can fail. Not an optimal investment in blockchain technology. Our final reason that has been proven why Bitcoin is destined to fail is that an investment in this cryptocurrency is not an optimal investment in blockchain technology. This one will probably start arguments on the group chat because a lot of people haven't done the proper research on this. Blockchain is the computational technology for, quite frankly, all mainstream cryptocurrencies, and it is believed to have a massive impact on what the future of the internet will be. Blockchain tech has the potential to revolutionize the auto industry, the financial industry, and even the global healthcare system. Since Bitcoin falls under the category of these cryptocurrencies and is perhaps the most acknowledged of them, many people believe investing in it is the best move to get in on all that future tech. Here's the thing though, other cryptos that are backed up by real and intrinsic assets like the US dollar exist. An example of these is stablecoins exist and will let you in on a secret. These coins are only as volatile or subject to fluctuation as the underlying assets they are backed by, unlike Bitcoin. So while Bitcoin has some sort of blockchain in its background, its relevance in the future compared to many other cryptocurrencies is extremely limited. Considering all this, it's clear that Bitcoin does have its importance in today's world, and it might have a role to play in the future. However, it'd be wrong to conclude it is invulnerable given all these flaws mentioned in this video. What do you think about this? Do you also think Bitcoin could fail in the future? Let us know in the comments section and enjoy our other videos. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.